I think it's really important to get out in nature and just kind of remind yourself why you're fighting. You're fighting for this beautiful environment. And I love to get outside. I love to go hiking. My dad was always taking pictures growing up, so I love photography and taking pictures of nature. And I hope in the future that I can spend a lot more time in national parks. At a very young age, my parents instilled a love of nature and a respect for nature. And so I always grew up really interested in animal conservation, and I think that naturally just turned into a passion for climate conservation and environmental justice. But I really think for me at least, the 2016 elections and seeing how important it was to see our elected officials care about climate change really changed my perspective and my sense of urgency for climate and environmental justice.
The youth have taken a stand.
The term activist is changing. I think we used to think of just one or two people in a movement as the sole activist, but now anybody can be an activist. For me, activism is a term defined as someone who is taking care of communities, whether they're a part of them or not. And I would love to be considered an activist or an organizer in any way. I've been organizing and working in environmental activism for the last 5 years. I started when I was 16 in Dallas, and now that I've moved to the Washington, D.C. area, I'm very involved here. I also think that there's other avenues.
Molly Reed is a political science student at George Mason University.
For me, researching environmental justice through policy is very important. I'm also working in the climate department, actually. I've worked there for 2 years. I go to George Mason, and I'm lucky to go to a school that's very passionate about environmental justice. So we have a greenhouse on campus where we grow some of the produce that we use in the dining hall. We have food forest, we have wildflower beds that allow the indigenous plants of the area to grow. We have wildlife opportunities, so we have beehives, and some of those food forests also offer a place for the natural bees and bug population to grow. We also have some great forested areas that connect students to nature. And we also have incredible composting and recycling opportunities on campus. So this is the place on campus where we really want bugs because they help break down all the food waste. And so you'll hear a lot of crickets and you'll see some flies, and that's actually a really good thing. At my university, we actually have personal compost that we can use. So I like to put coffee grounds or any fruit peels, banana peels. You can see some sort of melon in there. And I think, collectively as a whole, if we as a society composted a lot more than we do, we'd save so much food waste from the landfills. There's a couple of these, and you kind of open it up. You put whatever you want in there. So you can see some banana peels, and then you'll put something on top of it to help it break down. So usually like paper bags or leaves, sticks, things like that. And you just shuffle it up, and then you start turning this. And it's not wanting to move. Yeah, it's not really wanting to move. It's too full to move. Well, that's good. People are using it. We don't need everyone to drop what they're doing and just focus on this issue. What we do need is everyone to prioritize climate justice in some way, shape, or form. Whether that looks like them going out to a protest or calling their representatives or having a conversation with their family on how they can lower their carbon emissions, or it might be just reading the news, reading more articles about climate justice. It's very overwhelming, but there's so many little things that we can do, and just taking that first step, telling yourself that you want to prioritize learning about environmental justice, that's the first step, and that goes a long way.